Okay, hello athletes. How are we doing? Now, is everybody here an athlete?
Yes.
Yes, everybody participates. Okay, awesome.
Yes.
And we're going to talk a little bit about that later on. I want us to take a second. So at the end, what I want us to work on is actually introducing ourselves to other people, because that's something that seems really simple and we kind of take it for granted, but actually it's really important to practice that sort of thing so that when we get into a situation where we need to introduce ourselves, it doesn't feel quite so weird or uncomfortable, and we're not fumbling for the words that we need or that we want to find. So, as Saul said, my name is Sarah. I live in North Carolina, so I'm listening to you guys talk about rain in Arizona. And I guess I never thought about rain in Arizona. We get a lot of rain pretty much in North Carolina. So it's very, the air's pretty wet here. So we don't, and I've never been in a desert. So I guess, is all of Arizona a desert?
No, our state is actually like one of the most diverse biospheres
Oh,
because
cool.
you go 2 hours up north and it's completely different weather. It's cool, it's a
Wow.
forest. Um,
Ooh,
yeah, and then you go down south and it's actually more of a desert in Tucson, toward like
okay.
Mexico border.
Yeah.
So a lot of different biospheres here.
Okay, well, I will let you know that North Carolina thinks of Arizona as a desert, so I'm gonna spread the word that is incorrect information. The first thing I'm going to ask is if you can and if you feel comfortable, and your camera isn't already on, if you would turn it on for me, that would be really great. That's something that I like to call Zoom karma. And the reason I call it Zoom karma is because it's really, really hard when we're talking to other people, and Zoom's hard anyway, right? Because we're not in the same room. It's hard to read body language like we might in a normal situation. So with Zoom, we're really just dealing with little boxes with people's faces. And if we can see people's faces, then it feels a little bit more comfortable. It's a little bit easier to have this sort of interaction and talk to somebody. So I call it Zoom karma because I believe that if we practice good Zoom karma by letting the speaker see our faces, then in turn, when it's time for us to speak, more people will leave their cameras on for us. So that's my, again, if you're able to, and if you feel comfortable. Now I have just realized that I need to turn my phone volume off. So I've done that, sorry. Okay, I'm Sarah, I'm from North Carolina, and I am really, really passionate about public speaking. We're gonna go through today really kind of some general tips and tricks and rules and ideas for public speaking. I have some slides, but they are very, they're simple. I don't put very much on slides at all. So I'm going to jump back and forth between my slides and between just talking to y'all. I am going to say y'all because from North Carolina, so you get used to that. And I'm really passionate about sports and athletics. I do weightlifting, so I'm excited to talk to some of you guys and to help you guys really put your best foot forward and be great representatives for Special Olympics in Arizona. I'm going to hold off on meeting you all because we're going to practice introducing ourselves a little bit later on, and then I'm going to hear about the sports and the activities that you do related to Special Olympics. But I do want to set us up with a couple of rules to start off with. One is kindness. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys questions, and you might, each folks, I would love for you to contribute. But I'm going to ask that we're kind to each other. And I'm sure that that's a thing that you guys do already because you're good sports people and that sort of thing. And then the other thing I'm going to say is if you're a person who always contributes and always talks, I'm going to ask you to challenge yourself to to still contribute, but to take a step back to make space for other people who are maybe a little bit quieter. And then if you're a person who tends to be a little bit quieter in a discussion, I'm going to ask you to challenge yourself to contribute something. Okay. Again, I'm never going to know if you're a quiet person or a loud person, but I just want each people on each end of the spectrum to get some practice in today. Okay. And also, if you have questions, please put them in the chat, or maybe, sort of wave at me, raise your hand, whatever. And my buddy Saul is going to be in charge of keeping track of that. And Saul, feel free to just interrupt me when it feels like we have a moment and say, hey, we've got a question, that kind of thing. You're not going to throw me off too much.
Will do.
All
Will do.
right. So let me get this started. Before I pull this up, who has had to do some public speaking before? Who has had to stand up in front of a big group of people and talk? Okay. How did it feel?
Anyone can.
Good, because I did it for a fundraiser where I went to the a home in Scottsdale. I got invited by Soul, and I went to the Chicago baseball fundraiser. I had to talk about my reasons for doing Special Olympics, and we had a meeting. We talked about what we were going to say, and so we had a prepared statement. Am I right?
Okay. How did it feel, Paul? Was it comfortable?
Yes.
Okay, good. You liked it.
Yes.
I see in the chat that Michael has spoken at a prison in Tucson. That sounds cool, Michael.
We do have Haley with her hand raised, and then Jesse can go right after Haley.
Awesome.
So I've actually done a lot of public speaking. I have done a couple of interviews with actually ESPN because I was a part of the 2017 World Games floor hockey team for
Awesome.
Special Olympics, and I got interviewed a few times there. I've also kind of done more like athlete leadership events where I've had to speak about Special Olympics to like vendors, different companies that have fundraised to Special Olympics. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of say that, I guess.
That's awesome. You're a pro, Haley.
I
All
try to
right.
be.
Haley's a pro. Don't let her fool you. Jesse, you're up, dude.
So I did public speaking to Breakfast Champions in Flagstaff. So we had to do the thing, and I had to stand up in front of, I don't know how many people. I was nervous, but I did well. I had somebody ask me questions next to me, so I answered the question by myself. So that was good. And then I did public speaking with my work in Flagstaff.
Awesome.
All right, we're gonna go with Sean, Terry, and then Kevin will be our last one.
Cool. And I am going to let everybody know I have a little dog and she's starting to whine in the background. So hopefully she'll quiet down in a little bit. So I apologize in advance.
You're all good with that. My dogs get loud all the time. But no, my name is Sean, and I did a speech at a tech convention back in May
Okay.
with Saul and a couple of other staff members from SLAZ.
Yeah. Was it comfortable? Did you feel good doing it?
Like right when we got into there, we all got nervous.
Yeah.
I was the one speaking once we got onto the stage.
That's awesome.
All those lights are so bright you don't even see anybody out there.
That's
Maybe see, like,
true,
the
yeah.
front row.
Yeah, that's very true.
If anything, I know Saul was more nervous than I was.
Yeah, I'm always more nervous than you guys.
Yeah.
Terry, you want to go, and then Kevin will be our last one after Terry.
I just spoke at the community college, Venice Valley Community College, on Wednesday, and I get stage fright real bad.
Okay.
But lately I've been doing pretty good, so said.
That's awesome, Terry. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then Kevin will be your last one.
Hi, Sarah. So this is K-Dog here. I got to speak at a golf tournament when I forgot how long ago it was, but I spoke at a golf tournament for Best Buddies. I forgot where I was at, but I spoke there and in front of like a lot of golfers, and I felt really confident about it and it was really fun and I did a really good job. So I love talking to people and I love interviewing people and I love just talking to people in general, meeting new people and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah.
really fun.
Awesome. I can tell you're a people person, K-Dog.
Oh, yeah. Well, sorry,
Okay.
guys, Thunder just, that was Thunder, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I didn't even hear it. Guys, thank you so much for sharing. I'm sure that all of us have had, some sort of experiences here and there where we have done presentations. One of the biggest things that people come to me for, so something that I do is I help people either for a specific presentation that they have to do, or I help them just generally feel more comfortable and more confident when they have to speak in front of other people. So one of the biggest things that they come to me for is feeling nervous when they have to do a presentation. So that is a very common thing. If that's a thing that you feel, that is very common. If you do not feel nervous, then you are super lucky, because our brains have amazing things. Our brains are just amazing. They do incredible things all the time. But one of the coolest things that they do is they keep us safe. So our brain has an organ inside it, and its whole job is to respond to danger. And when it responds to danger, it's going to start releasing adrenaline. You've probably heard of adrenaline into your system, and then that adrenaline is going to make your heart beat faster. It's going to make your muscles tense up. It might make you start sweating if you've ever started sweating when you felt nervous. And it's going to it does other cool things. It makes your pupils dilate so that you have a broader range of vision. You can see more. And the reason for that response is that, back in the day, if we were living out in the middle of nowhere, we might need to have a response to keep us safe from something like this. If we were living out in the woods and I round a corner and I see a bear, then I need to do something, right? Like my body knows that I am in danger. And it sets off something called the fight or flight response. Has anybody heard of fight or flight before? Yeah. So again, it's for a situation where we come across a bear and our brain knows that our body's about to need to run away from the bear or fight the bear. Now, a third option is to freeze, right? Because in some situations when you're in danger, the best option is to stand still. And that one we're going to talk about in a little bit. But all of this is to help keep us safe. Brain automatically does that. The unfortunate thing is that our brain has a really hard time telling the difference between is something like public speaking. So a social threat would be something where we are worried that somebody is going to judge us, right? Or maybe we don't like people to look at us. And so standing up in front of a bunch of people and talking is something that feels uncomfortable, or getting up in front of people. But that's okay, because there are things that we can do to counteract that. And again, if we're doing public speaking and we start to have that adrenaline coming through our bodies, it can be embarrassing, right? To have sweat. Sometimes we get that armpit sweat that's pretty embarrassing. If our heart is beating fast, it makes us feel a little bit maybe nauseous or something like that. It might make our voice shake. It's just generally kind of uncomfortable and makes us look and feel not confident. And what we really want to aim for when we're doing a presentation is conveying confidence. Confidence is really key to making people believe in us, believe what we have to say, and want to listen to us. So my two things when I work with folks, I want us to be confident and I want us to be authentic. And authentic to me means being genuinely yourself. You guys are in a really special position where you are actually athletes with Special Olympics. So you understand how important these programs are. You know how much fun you've had, all the stuff that you've gained. And so we want you to be authentically you. You telling your story is what's going to be the key to helping other people. So that's really, really important. Let's talk just a little bit about how our voices work. Very, very quick, okay? Because then this is going to lead us back to one of the ways that we can help when we start to feel nervous, something that we can do. So down here, these are your lungs, and our lungs fill up with air, right? And then we squeeze the air out of the lungs, and it comes up through here, through our vocal cords. So if everybody will put your hand on your throat right now, and I want you to just say, hello, my name is, and then say your name. Go ahead and say it. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Kevin.
Yeah. Do you guys feel that vibration
Yeah.
that's in there? Yeah, those are your vocal cords. So they're these pieces of tissue inside your throat that vibrate hundreds of times per second in order to make sound. So that's pretty cool. So the air comes up through the vocal cords. Think of it a little bit like when you strum the strings on a guitar, and that's what makes the sound. So then the sound comes up, and then it comes into our heads, and it gets, rich. It bounces around inside our heads. You see all of this space up in here, that's where the sound comes around and gets richer. And then we shape sound into words with our mouths. And that's how it comes out. This is why, so all this space up here is why, like when you have a cold, maybe sometimes your voice sounds a little stuffy and stuffed up. And that's because there's stuff all up in there. So it's going to make your voice sound different than it usually does. So it's super interesting. But what that means is we have the opportunity here, because this part down here where we breathe in air and then start to push it back out is going to give us a really cool opportunity to make oh, I'm sorry, I'm just now seeing that for some folks that making the sound on their voice is a little bit different. So thank you for reminding me of that. So in this case, and something that applies to everybody, is that taking a deep breath is one of the ways that we can send the message to our brain that we're safe. So when we take a deep breath in, it sends that message that we're safe. We can start to slow down that heart rate. We can start to calm down with the sweat and things like that. So I want everybody to practice. And when I'm talking about a breath, I want a nice deep breath that like fills up your lungs and really just makes you feel full of air for a second. And the way that we do that, the best way is it's called diaphragmatic breathing, which is a super crazy, weird, long word that just means in through the nose and out through the mouth. So if you've ever been upset, somebody's probably said to you, like, just take some deep breaths. And the reason for that is because this is just a natural way that our body works. When we take deep breaths, our heart rate naturally is going to slow down and we're going to naturally feel a little bit better. So I want all of us to practice together. We're going to do it 3 times. We're going to take a deep breath in through the nose. We're going to hold it for just a second, and then we're going to let it out through the mouth. Okay. So everybody together, deep breath in, hold it, and exhale. Okay. And then let's do another one. Deep breath in, hold it, and exhale. And then finally, one last one. Deep breath in, hold it, and then exhale. Okay. Do people feel a little bit looser, a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more relaxed in there? Yeah,
Yes.
it's amazing. It's amazing how it works. Now, I will warn you that sometimes if you take a lot of deep breaths, because your brain isn't used to it, you might feel a little bit dizzy for a second. So do be careful. And if that happens, don't get too worried. But that's a cool way that can help us feel confident, strong, and sure of ourselves, and help to calm us down when we're feeling a little bit nervous. So the other thing that I want us to talk about, let me come back here. The other thing I want us to talk about is mindset. Now, again, as athletes, you guys have probably done some talking, maybe probably with your coaches about the importance of mindset. But a lot of the same things apply for public speaking as do in sports and athletics. So one of the biggest things when we're doing a public speaking situation is to think about things as I get to do this rather than I have to do this. So it sends a much different message to our brain if you're saying, oh, I get to go to this event and talk about my experience with Special Olympics, rather than, oh, I have to go to this event and talk to people about Special Olympics. Those are two different things. And that first one, I get to do this, is going to help you be more excited. And the more excited you are, that tells your brain, okay, this is a good thing. I'm safe. This is something I'm looking forward to. So that's one of the big things. Another big thing is your body language. So a lot of times, if we are, before we're getting ready to do something, right? I'm going into a meeting, or I have an interview, or, I'm sitting here waiting to go up on stage, and we might do this, right? We're sitting over, we've got our phones, our faces are down in our phones. And that body language is really, it's not confident body language, right? We're hunching over and closing ourselves off. And that's something that is actually really bad for our confidence. Okay. Whereas there are scientists who have done research that when we stand up tall with our shoulders back, maybe you put your hands on your hips like Wonder Woman, that is something that makes us feel stronger. You can do this sitting, you can do this wherever you are, right? If we hold ourselves with confidence, like we're brave. So everybody sit where you're sitting right now. Give me a brave stance, just wherever you are. Show me what it feels like, what it looks like when we're feeling strong and confident and brave. Yeah, those are some brave folks right there. So scientists have done research, and when we take a stance like that, when we hold a position that makes us feel strong, that changes our brain. It actually changes the makeup of the brain so that when you go into a situation, you're feeling more brave and strong and confident. So your body is informing your brain. And so that's a really cool tool to use. Now, if you're about to go on stage and you're standing in front of everybody, maybe don't stand like Wonder Woman in front of everybody, but you can totally go to the bathroom and have a private moment where we're in the stall. You're going to sit there and you're just going to take a position that feels really strong and confident for you. And over time, after a little bit of time, that does make you feel more confident. The other thing, sorry.
I was going to say, Sarah, we do have a question from Haley.
Sure.
She was wondering if there is a best way to utilize your voice or kind of prepare your voice so that it doesn't hurt after so much speaking.
Haley, that is an awesome question. And that's actually something that we're going to talk about, but we can do it now because I'm worried about time because I've got a lot that I want to share with you guys, but this is really one of the important things. And it's actually pretty fun to do because one of the things that you can do with that, again, just like you would warm up your body to participate in an event, you're going to do the same thing. So you guys saw in that picture, all of the muscle and tissue and everything that's involved in sound coming out. So a couple of the things that I like to do to warm up, one, to warm up your voice, I call it the sound roller coaster. And it's pretty weird. So you guys just prepare yourselves. So you start as high as you can. So you might start like way up here. And then you're going to just like you're riding a roller coaster, right? You start high and then you dip down low and then you go back up high again. So it sounds like this. You guys ready? So you're going to go. So that's, again, pretty funny. Don't do it, if you're in front of a lot of people and without an explanation. But that's something that you can do. And what that does is it's warming up your voice. It's making kind of all of the different levels of the sound warm up so that they get more comfortable. And yeah, Zach says that you guys do that in choir. If you've ever done any sort of singing, then you have done a vocal warm up. Okay. So any of that stuff that you might do for singing absolutely works for speaking too. So that's one of the ones, is the starting high and going low. The other, I'm going to show you two that I really, really like, just because they're fun and they kind of make me feel a little bit like a little kid when you used to make funny noises and do things with your face. So the first one you're going to do is I want everybody to chew in a really polite way, like as big as you can, but still keep your mouth closed, still keep your lips closed, right? So everybody's going to do like this. Okay. And put some sound behind it if you can. So do like a and it is really good what you're eating, right? So like a and you're doing the same thing, right? We're hitting those high notes, we're hitting those low notes, and it's just getting your voice a little bit warmed up and active and ready to go. The other one we're going to do is much more fun. You're going to chew in a way that would embarrass your family. Okay, so this one we're chewing as big as we can, mouth open, tongue out. Just you can be as gross as you want here, right? So this one's like a and after you do these, you'll feel these muscles, right? Okay, Haley says nothing can embarrass her family, but you could try. But you're going to actually feel those muscles here in the back of your jaw. You're going to feel the muscles around your lips and stuff actually feel a little bit tired. Again, just like if you were playing a sport. So those are just a couple of things that you can do before you're going on to do something, to do a speech or a presentation, just to kind of get you kind of in the zone. And that's another thing that if you get practice doing that before you have to speak, it can kind of help your brain get in gear too. Your brain, like we start doing the funny noises and your brain's like, oh, cool, we're about to do this presentation. That's great. So thank you. That's a really awesome question, Haley. And I'm glad you asked it because then we got to make funny noises.
Well, and also I was going to say too, though, it was like for me, because a lot of my teammates here that's on this call can vouch for me. I'm a very competitive person, but I yell. Like I'm a yeller. I've been that way ever since I started Special Olympics. Like I yell. So, and the issue with me though is like if I yell for too long, then I could feel like my vocal cords, like they feel like, I wouldn't say tight, but it's like it feels like there's like I wouldn't call them, like, not to be gross, but like lumps or like a bump or something inside of there, because it makes it crack. And so that's when I'm like, oh my gosh, like something, okay, I have to like stop now because it like hurts. Like I can feel it.
So vocal cords are really, really delicate. So another thing that I always recommend is that we always have water nearby whenever we're going to speak, because your vocal cords really have to maintain a lot of moisture in order to move in the way that that's ideal for them. So when we're yelling, we're straining them. So another thing, next time you're like cheering, I'm guessing that's what you're doing, it's for the cheering, the yelling. So the next time you're doing that, I want you to practice relaxing your throat while you're cheering and focus more on getting the sound up from your belly, right? So the more we can relax the throat up here, the easier it's going to be on our vocal cords. But the bottom line is, no matter who we are, if we make really loud noise for a long time, our vocal cords are going to get tired. So we want to remember to rest them, but also to keep them lubricated with water. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is that you are never going to be perfect in a presentation. You're not, I'm not, and that's okay, because nobody's going to notice. Nobody's going to remember. Honestly, if you make a mistake, people will forget within 2 minutes, because everybody who's listening is also paying attention to themselves, right? They're thinking about their own stuff. So you might trip over words or forget your place or something like that. And the person might notice it in the moment, but very quickly they're thinking about what they need to pick up from the grocery store. So that's the thing to remember, is that you can't put so much pressure on yourself, because you're never going to be perfect, and that is okay. That's an important lesson for life, and it's one that I have to regularly remind myself of. Next thing, and we talked a little bit about this with get to versus have to, but anxiety versus excitement. Anxiety and excitement are actually very similar emotions to each other. If anybody likes to ride roller coasters, I do not, but that is apparently a thing that lots of people enjoy. And the reason is because anxiety and excitement really are very similar to each other. So again, a mindset thing is that if we can feel those kind of butterflies and stuff in our stomach, and we frame it for ourselves, and I think, oh man, I'm really excited to give this speech, then that's kind of arguing against this anxiety thing. So mindset is a huge part of it. The way we talk to ourselves is key. Another thing is visualizing. And again, we use this a lot in sports. You visualize how a game's going to go. You visualize how a match or a heat is going to go. So visualizing a presentation is exactly the same idea. So if you sit and you're preparing for something and you imagine what it's going to be like to be in the room and to walk up on stage, or to go up on stage or up in front of everybody and have to figure out, where you're supposed to be, what's the best way that everybody's going to hear you, and then visualize and kind of go through in your mind actually giving your talk, giving your presentation. And then visualize it going well, you finish, everybody applauds you, and then you go back to your spot and it's over. So visualizing in that way, again, when we're there actually in the moment, our brains are really easy to trick. They're amazing, but they can be a little bit silly sometimes because they're really easy to trick. And if we've visualized in advance, the brain can start to think that it will react in a way that is the same as if we've actually done this before. So that's something that helps us not be as nervous or surprised when we're actually in the situation. Finally, pretend. If you're not feeling brave, pretend you are. I like to call this like your bravery coat, or your courage coat. So I tell people to visualize. So everybody right now, I want you to close your eyes. And if you were going to have a coat that anytime you put it on made you feel brave and strong and confident and sure that nothing could make you afraid, what would that coat look like? I want you to think about what color it would be. Would it have sequins? Would it have armor? Would it be covered in feathers? Would it be like a football player, kind of, the big pads and stuff? Figure out what your confidence coat looks like in your mind. And then when you're in a situation where you're going to give a presentation, put on that confidence coat. It's amazing how much it actually works. Just pretending that we've got this thing on that's going to make us feel like we can do this. We can take this on. All right. And then when you're done with your presentation, I want you to focus on what went well. We have a really big tendency, just as people, to focus on what goes not like we want it to. Again, we focus on how we messed up. We focus on, the thing that was like slightly off or whatever. But if we take time to focus on what went well, that's going to do wonders for our confidence the next time that we're giving a presentation. So always, always, always take time to focus on what went well. let's go back and talk a little bit about body language, because that's going to be really, really important. So when we're giving a presentation, sorry, there's a gnat flying around me. When we're giving a presentation, what is a person who looks confident? What do they look like? What are they doing? Just quickly write it in the chat, or there's some things that when we look at a person, we know that they feel confident. Hands
Zach,
templing. All right, Zach.
not being
Paul,
nervous.
not being nervous. Yeah, somebody doesn't look nervous. Shoulders back, right? So standing up or sitting up as big as tall as we can. Yeah, somebody might look happy. All of these things are really keys, and we notice this. Like, we don't even know that we notice this in other people. We can see somebody, and just by the way they're holding themselves, we know that they're feeling good and strong and confident. A couple of things. One, Zach talked about the hand templing. That's a really good one. One of the things that we want to avoid when we're talking about our hands, something we don't want to do is like cross our arms in front of us. Okay, because that's like we're closing ourselves off. When we cross our arms, then that makes it look like we're trying to hide behind something. That's one of them. Some people are hand talkers. I like to use my hands when I'm talking a lot. Some people just like hold their hands right in front of them, and maybe they wring them, and they're feeling, again, this is the kind of thing, if we're wringing our hands, that makes us look nervous. So something I like to recommend is, if you know you're going to be nervous, hold something in your hand. That's totally fine. Don't hold something like a piece of paper. It's going to, make a lot of noise and be distracting, but that's totally something we can do.
Sarah, we do have a question from Kevin.
Hey, Kevin, what's up?
So another thing is having good handshakes. Like, you want to have a good, nice, firm handshake. And then another thing is, when I do the stress, there's like a stress thing that you can use to kind of make yourself not so stressed anymore, like a stress ball or whatever they can use.
Yeah, stuff like that. If you know that there's something that really works for you when you're feeling anxious, and you're in a scenario where it feels like it would be okay for you to take a stress ball up there, like maybe don't take one into a job interview, but something else, another situation, you might be able to, and maybe you're holding on to the stress ball right before you go in to do the interview, and then you just put it in your pocket.
Yeah,
right?
And you do it like after it, but yeah, it's like nice, firm, like grip.
Yeah. Handshakes are a great way that people learn, and feel kind of that somebody is confident. So that's a good one. I want to talk a little bit about eye contact, because that's something that we hear a lot about, right? Is making eye contact with people that we're talking to. When we're talking to a big group of people, you're going to try and spread your eye contact around the room. Now, for some of us, eye contact doesn't feel good. And that's okay. I'm not going to tell you like you have to look at people in the eye. You've got a couple of options. One is you can look somewhere else on somebody's face. So maybe making eye contact feels uncomfortable, but looking at their chin feels a little bit better. So that's one tactic. Another one is you can practice the eye contact. Like maybe you practice just making eye contact for a little bit and then stopping. And then over time, Zach says the nose is another one. So, but also there's some evidence that if we get some practice making eye contact just for a little bit at a time, that it feels better over time. And also, guys, if you're in a situation where you feel comfortable saying, sorry, I don't feel really comfortable making eye contact, but I promise I'm still listening and engaging with you, then sometimes that's all people need to hear. I think most people, particularly nowadays, are willing to help us out with stuff like that. Okay, I'm trying to jump ahead because we're running out of time. You guys are such good participators.
And Sarah,
Sean,
someone put in the chat that record yourself before you do the interview to help you not be so nervous.
That's a great trick. And again, we've all got a phone or something probably that we can use to record ourselves. So record yourself and then go back and watch it. And sort of, that's the way that we can notice maybe certain things that we do, right? Like if I am talking and I'm just constantly adjusting my glasses and I don't know that, but if I go back and watch it, then I notice, and that's something that I can maybe start to work on. Okay. So yes, that is a great, great, great technique and tool for folks. I want to talk.
Sorry,
Yeah, sorry.
Michelle, can we keep your question till the end so Sarah can move on?
Sorry, guys. I want to hear from you all. That's so one of the big things about preparing is figuring out what you want to say. Okay. And for that, you want to know a couple of things, but one of the big things that you want to think about when you're planning what you're going to say is who your audience is. Who are you talking to and what information do they want to know? What information is going to be important to them? And so that's the kind of stuff, that's one of the things that I want us to go through and work on right now. And the other thing is like, write down notes, have notes with you. There's some people seem to think that it's like terrible to have notes, but it's not. Now, it's not great if you've got notes and this is how you're reading them, right? Because we still want people to be able to see our face and connect to us, but absolutely have notes. And if that's going to make you feel more comfortable, do it. But I want you to practice out loud many, 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 many times before you actually go to do a presentation so that you probably don't need your notes. Maybe you take them up there with you just to feel better, to feel more comfortable, but you don't actually necessarily need them because you've practiced out loud enough times that it feels natural to you. What I want us to do right now is I want everybody, if you've got a piece of paper or just you can do it in your head, I'm going to have everybody go through, and we're going to have to do it pretty quickly. But everybody who wants to, I want you to tell us, this is like practicing introducing yourself if you were at an event with I've been calling you Saul. It's Saul, isn't it?
It's Saul. It's okay.
So if you're going somewhere with Saul and you're going to be a representative for Special Olympics, I want you to get some practice introducing yourself. So here's what I'm going to want everybody to go through right now and say. You're going to say your name. You're going to say where you're from, because you're all from different towns in Arizona, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to say what event you compete in, and then anything else that you participate in with Special Olympics. So if you're doing advocacy or you're doing these sorts of education programs and things like that, you're going to quickly share that. But the thing about an elevator speech introduction, that's what they're called, little elevator speeches, is that it's fast. I mean, not fast like speed wise, but short. So it's something that you can get out in about 15 seconds. So before we go through it, I want everybody just with their cameras off, out loud, or sorry, not cameras off, microphones off. So stay muted, sorry. Just go through and say what you're going to say. So you're going to say, hello, my name is blah, blah, blah. I'm from here. The event that I participate in is this, and I also do this with Special Olympics. So everybody take a second right now and practice doing that. Okay. I know it feels silly to talk to yourself, but the practice is really important. So now, and we don't have a whole lot of time, but I do want us to quickly go through. I want everybody who wants to, I don't want to make anybody do anything they don't want to do, but anybody who wants to go through and give us your introduction. So pretend that you're at an event and you are meeting somebody and you're going to introduce yourself to them. Saul, I'm going to let you call on people.
Okay. Yeah, we have Haley first and then Jesse after Haley.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Haley James. I currently am living in Tucson, Arizona, but I'm originally from San Diego, California. The sports that I participate in Special Olympics are floor hockey, basketball, softball, and flag football. And I'm also on the Special Olympics Arizona Athlete Leadership Program, as well as I'm on the Health Messengers for Special Olympics Arizona. And I'm also on the Special Olympics Arizona State Council. I am the secretary. And I'm also a global messenger for the state of Arizona as well.
Wow, you're busy, Haley. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks, Haley. Good job, Haley. Jesse and then Roxanne after Jesse.
My name is Jesse McGurl. I'm from Flagstaff, Arizona. I love track and field, and I'm an athlete, and I'm also working on an athlete coach right now.
Awesome, Jesse. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Jesse. Roxanne and then Zach after Roxanne.
Hi everyone. My name is Roxanne Johnson, and I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I compete in swimming, bocce ball, bowling, track and field, and cycling year-round.
Wow.
And I am a athlete leadership committee. I'm a global messenger and a health messenger. And I'm giving me and one of another athletes are giving speeches for health messengers.
Awesome, Roxanne. Thank you.
Thank you, Roxanne. Good job. All right, we're gonna do Zach and then Patricia after Zach.
So my name's Zach. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I participate in swimming, bowling, soccer, golf, bocce, basketball, football, track and field, volleyball, and I'm an assistant coach for esports. I am a member of AIC and I am attending college as we speak.
Awesome, Zach. Another busy guy.
Yeah, a lot of these guys are very busy.
It sounds
Thanks.
like it.
Thank you, Zach. We'll go Patricia and then Michael after Patricia.
Okay. My name Patricia. I live in South Arizona. My favorite food is swimming. I am in a late leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. That was great.
Awesome, Patricia. Thank you so much.
Good job, Patricia. All right, Michael and then Kevin.
Hello, my name is Michael Jackson, down here in Tucson. I participate in basketball and track and field, and I've been to North Carolina in the '99 World Summer Games
Oh, awesome.
and '95 Connecticut World Summer Games. And I went to the Wilmot Prison and talked to all the different facilities that they help raise money for Special Olympics here in Arizona for Special Olympics. So I went to tell them what the money was for and how it was spent to help healthy athletes out.
That's great.
And
Thank you, Michael.
And I also got a college degree through Special Olympics.
Wow.
Yeah, through the Athlete leadership program.
That's very cool.
So that's it.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks,
Thank you
Michael.
very much, Michael. We'll have Kevin, Sean, and then Trayvon. And I think that's it.
Hi, my name is Kevin. I go by K-Dog. I support in or I do track. I don't do track that. I do softball. I'm probably gonna do basketball this year. I do baseball for East Valley Special Olympics. And I love baseball. Baseball is like my favorite sport. I've actually caught 3 home runs at the Diamondbacks game, so that's really cool. Got to interview Archie Bradley, so that was kind of cool, and got to play catch with Paul Goldschmidt, who was the Diamondbacks first baseman, but he's not the Diamondbacks first baseman anymore. But got to play catch with him, so that was fun. And yeah, so I do a lot of, and I got to throw out the first pitch, so I do a lot with the Diamondbacks, and I mean that's why I'm a huge fan of the Diamondbacks, because I literally look forward, and I like the Suns too. So
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Kevin. All right, Sean and Trayvon, we're gonna have to make this snappy, okay? All right, Sean. You're muted, sir.
You're muted, dude.
Keep clicking that button and it never like to click that time. All right, my name is Sean. I'm the president of our ALC committee here in Arizona. I'm on that, the Health Messenger Board, Global Health Messenger. I currently am competing next weekend at our state games in swimming. And I'm also on the board of executives for Special Olympics Arizona.
Awesome.
And then I help Saul with whatever he's not able to, well,
You keep
with
Saul
what
in
he
line.
needs help to, I mean.
Keeps me in line. All right, Trayvon, hit it, sir.
Hi, my name is Trevon Clark. So, Special Olympic activity I do is I do softball. What Kidon said, I do softball, I do golf, I do bowling, I do track and field, flag football, I do basketball, and that, and then my favorite hobby that I do in real life. So I work with the company with POAM National Event Service. I do ASU sporting events, all that stuff. I'm a security guard and all that. So I work during the weekdays, and then sometimes I'll be busy doing it on the weekends. So yeah.
Awesome. Another busy guy. And guys, you got the state games coming up next weekend. Good luck to everybody in that. That's pretty awesome. So we've got about 5 minutes. I do want to be sure we get a little bit of time for questions. I haven't gotten to cover all the things I wanted to cover, but that's okay, because I think the stuff that we have covered is going to be helpful to you. And I've loved hearing a little bit about all the things that you're involved with. So you can put questions in the chat. You can raise your hand and Saul can call on you. But I want to be sure any questions you guys have, I can try and answer.
All right, I think we have Michelle with a question. Michelle?
Thank you. I was trying to figure out how to turn my mic on.
Nailed it.
So yeah, I'm part of the Arizona Youth Leadership Forum every year. I'm part of the statewide Independent Living Council's Emergency Preparedness Committee. So yeah, it helps me to just stare at the screen and like not look at everywhere else and just like concentrate. I have you just on the speaker side right now, so I could just see your face, not everyone else's at the same time. So it actually helps me out when I'm in the middle of doing a presentation to just stare at one person, not the whole crowd, and things like that.
That's a really good point, Michelle. And again, one of the benefits of Zoom is that if seeing all of those people makes you feel nervous, you can change what view you have. The other thing that I want to remind us of, and I'm not going to show you my camera that I'm using right now, but on our phone, what you want to be looking at so that it looks like you're making eye contact is the camera. So if you're somebody who feels nervous when you're having to look at everybody else, just look at that dot. Just talk to the dot. that's your camera, and it's going to make it look like you are being so engaged with everybody that you're talking to. So again, when we're in this weird world doing stuff on Zoom, use it to your advantage if you can.
All right, we have Terry, and that might be all the time we have, just because our next session starts at 2. So, yeah, Terry, you want to go?
What if you have stage fright and you start to stutter? What should I do?
So Terry, that's something that takes a little bit of just practice to get over. But those tips that I talked about before, taking nice deep breaths, reminding yourself that you're safe. Okay, putting on your confidence coat. Remember, we imagined what that might look like, and that's really fun, right? Your confidence coat can look like anything that's going to make you feel cool. And then when you're done doing a presentation, reminding yourself that it went well, right? Reminding yourself of all the things that were good, and then that helps prepare your brain so that next time it won't be as afraid, because it'll remember, oh, I've done this before and it was totally fine.
Right, thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for your question.
All right, guys, I think we're gonna have to switch over to our next presenter, but Sarah, I want to thank you for coming on, educating us, giving us some great tips for our public speaking presentations. So thank you very much, guys. If we want to give Sarah a round of applause for her presentation. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you, Sarah, very much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. I love talking to y'all and hearing about all the cool stuff that you're doing. And good luck to everybody who's competing.
Yeah,
Thank
Sarah.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a good one.
Bye, guys.
You too.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank y'all.
Thank
All right.
you.
All right, guys, we want to jump into our next presentation, next link. I'll see you guys in there. Okay.
Okay.